welcome to the last episode of MCubed for the month of June. And it will be an abbreviated episode because this movie is probably by far the most hard to follow of the 4 films that we've reviewed. So I've gone to the trouble of making a short synopsis of the movie. Let's get this done. Okay, anyway, I went to the trouble of coming up with a short synopsis of the movie, throwing in a couple of jokes, and we'll see it from there. Okay, the film, let's just jump right into the film, which is Cocaine Fiends. The film opens with, you guessed it, another scrolling preface. I'll read this one as Maurice LaMarche as Orson Welles this time. So here we go. Among the many evils against which society struggles, the most vicious is the traffic in dope. In every community where the menace develops, all the forces which society can mobilize, including social agencies, doctors, law enforcement officials, and government, band together to stamp it out. Without such activity, the dope evil would run rampant. Yet it has long been recognized that one other powerful force is necessary before the struggle can be completely successful. That force is an aroused and educated public awareness. It is in the hope of aiding in developing such awareness that this picture has been produced. What happened to Jane Bradford may happen to anyone. There will always be Jane Bradfords until you, Mr. Citizen, cooperate with the forces now fighting the dope evil to forever stamp it out of our land. The management. Okay, I gotta ask, who's the management? The theater management? The studio management? Orson Welles management? Anyway, we'll go straight to the story of Jane Bradford. That is, of course, after the credits. Yeah, this is unique in that the scrolling preface is before the credits. Okay, so here we go. The story is simple. Yeah, maybe. One day, while manning her family diner, Jane Bradford encounters a dope pusher, who she falls for as well as his nose candy. Sorry, it was a running gag for this series and I had to do it. He whisks her away to the big city where they marry, and Jane gets hooked even harder on the stuff than her philandering husband. Later, we shift focus from Jane to her brother, Eddie. He falls in with a girl at work who gets him hooked on the stuff. They get fired and she gets pregnant, and they both fight their habits. As this story is going along, we're also introduced to Dorothy Farley, a wealthy socialite who enjoys the nightlife at a dive called the Dead Rat Cafe. Yeah, there's a real winner of a cafe named the Dead Rat Cafe. I mean, I definitely would not be eating anything that was offered on the menu at the Dead Rat Cafe. Anyway, Eddie's girl commits suicide via a cut gas line. Eddie winds up in rehab. Try to make me go to rehab. I say no. You knew it was coming. And Jane ends up killing her husband. We also learn that Dorothy's father is in fact the head of the whole drug trafficking racket. The end. So there you have it. Like I said, a brief synopsis. A very brief synopsis of this movie. To be completely honest, I mean, my biggest gripe about this movie is that it has 3 protagonists, basically. It has Jane, it has Eddie, and it has Dorothy. And it jumps from them without hardly a blink. And it's really hard to follow. And this concise, watered-down version of the movie also cuts out the totally worthless musical numbers at the Dead Rat Cafe. I mean, it's pointless. There's no need for them. They're just there to fill space, I think. That and my transfer, once again, is incredibly difficult to hear and see. I mean, seriously, there's not really much grayscale. It's mostly black or white, and that's why I had trouble reading the preface earlier. So there you have it. The final MCubed about drugs. Cocaine Fiends. Yeah. None of these films made me any less likely to do drugs. I mean, I've not touched the stuff. I'm addicted to Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper. So, join us next month, my birth month, July, where we'll be looking at movies that came out during my birth year, 1984. So that's right, next month, 1984. Big Brother is watching. Take care. See you then.
Drugs? Oh, bad news, Michael. Why don't don't you just say no?